Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, run for the latest UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we have got a chilly next couple of days as we do see northwesterly winds moving in, and as you can see on the live radar it is turning more unsettled as well. Most areas are going to see some light to moderate rain, and if you are in the north and the west it could be actually pretty heavy at times. After these longer spells of rain clear through on Friday into Saturday, we will see plenty of showers before it slowly turns drier through Sunday into Monday as we start to see high pressure building in. As we head into early to the middle part of next week, pretty much as we move into the first few days of April, the high pressure is going to become pretty well established, blocking area of high pressure over the top of us, so very little movement in it, and the air masses are going to start to warm. And as we'll see from the longer range charts, it does look like we're going to see a good few days later on next week where we could see high pressure around, but also warm air. And this time of year, it could produce some really quite stunning conditions. The latest runs, or at least the majority of the latest runs, do have temperatures getting up towards the high teens pretty widely, maybe even into the low 20s in a few spots. Now, we have been talking about some colder conditions as well. Now, the reason why we're seeing very warm air is because of this blocking area of high pressure. A lot of the runs recently have shown that blocking area of high pressure to move further northwards. So although, yes, it could be very warm at times next week, as we'll see from runs like the ECMWF today, it could go from very warm to very cold in the space of about 24 hours or so, and that looks like a real possibility. So the first few days of April could be stunning, warm, loads of sunshine, and then progressively could get colder as the colder air masses drift in from the northeast. Now we'll explore that in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now if you start on the live radar, you can see lots of heavy rain out to the north and the west at the moment, slowly drifting south and eastwards. It will move away and sort of disintegrate away through this evening into Friday, so it shouldn't be too heavy once it clears the far southeast, but there's still some heavier pulses, and there could remain some heavier pulses even into tomorrow. Now, if you look at the temperatures, it is particularly cold ahead of the weather front, but behind it is turning much chillier. Temperatures, though, widely are going to be below average over the next couple of days, as there will be generally fresher air moving in from the northwest. Now, if you have a look at the latest UKV, now you can see all of that heavy rain, a bit of line convection in there, but that's disintegrating away at the moment, and eventually all of that rain will clear through the far southeast into tomorrow morning. Bits and bobs of drizzle around, but generally should be decent into Friday afternoon. Hefty showers in the north and west, and generally a cold feel with temperatures down towards the mid to high single digits for some, and a bit of wintriness in some of those showers, and progressively into the weekend, more spells of rain moving through on Saturday, but slowly into Sunday turns a little bit drier, and into early next week a few showers and bits and bobs of cloud, but generally speaking it's much drier, and you see the wind direction move to a southerly, and look at those upper air temperatures getting towards 8 to 10 degrees, which is well above average for the time of year, and slowly that will develop into warm conditions at the surface. That's the most important fact there. Warm conditions quite widely. But this area of high pressure, although right at this stage is building in over the top of us and slightly to our northeast, if it heads slightly further northwards, which a lot of runs do have, it could pull in easterly winds. And although we can't see it here on these charts, just to our east is some very cold air towards sort of Scandinavia direction. So we'll have to wait and see, but definitely some runs like the ECMWF, which we'll see in a moment, do have very cold air pushing in following a very warm spell. Now, to look at the max temperatures, you can see as we progress into Friday, temperatures are going to be around the low teens. Nothing spectacular, but nothing too poor either. Probably around average or below average. High single digits, though, further northwards and westwards. As we progress into Saturday, temperatures down towards freezing, looking pretty cold there through Saturday morning. And by Saturday afternoon, again, chilly, but nothing too remarkable, around the 9 to 12 degree mark. into Sunday. Temperatures starting to climb a little bit, 15 or 16, and into Monday as well, up towards 17, 18, and Tuesday as well, 15, 16, 17. But definitely into the following days, those temperatures could rise even further up towards the 20-degree mark as we do see those warmer air masses establish themselves. But as I said, warm at least in the short term. Longer term, cold is definitely on the cards. Not guaranteed, but definitely on the cards. So I know there will definitely be people watching this saying, you've spoken a lot about cold conditions in the past week or so into early April. That is still on the cards, but it does look like temporarily, while the high pressure moves northwards, it could turn warm for a good few days. Now, if you look at the latest GFS, you can see west to northwesterly winds at the moment. High pressure builds into early next week, initially with southerly or southeasterly winds, dry and relatively mild. But eventually that high pressure does shift northwards and does allow some cooler air masses to get involved. Now, the GFS isn't developing anything too classic in terms of northerly or northeasterly airflows, but cooler air would be involved, and it wouldn't be warm, sunny and dry the whole time. But generally speaking, the high pressure never fully penetrates into the Arctic, so it never gets too cold. But definitely some cooler air masses temporarily do push through there. You see the -5 line nudging through there into early April. Now, if you compare it to the GM, then no, the GM is ridiculously warm today with its operational run. The high pressure slap bang over the top of us with southerly winds to start April, and it looks very, very warm. But as we progress towards day 10, it does move northwards, and very cold air starts to come around the high. So as we progress perhaps to around the 7th, 8th, 9th of April, it could turn much chillier. But initially, look at this, the high pressure builds in next week. Those upper air temperatures go around to the 10 or even 12 degree mark. And look at the temperature deviation, around 10 to 12 degrees above average. And if we do zoom in to the United Kingdom, look, temperatures widely in towards the high teens, and I wouldn't be surprised to see temperatures into the low 20s, 20 to maybe 22 degrees would be the warmest day of the year so far. So we'll have to wait and see for that. You can see that day 10, look at this, 9 to 12 degrees. And even at this point, the upper air temperatures aren't too disappointing. It's just a shift in wind direction. So definitely looks like it could go very warm for a few days next week before eventually turning much colder. Now, the ECMWF exemplifies that today. It's the opposite of the GFS. It gets a lot of amplification going and does get very cold air in. Now, northwesterly winds over the next couple of days, pretty chilly. High pressure builds in with much, much warmer air masses here as we do head into the first day of April. You can see the upper air temperatures aren't quite as warm as the GM, but they're up towards the 6, 7, 8 degree mark. It's the subsequent days, though. Look at this. Northeasterly winds getting unlocked, and very quickly we go from the +5 isotherm down to the -5, even the -10 drifting in there, turning very cold around the 5th or 6th of April. So very, very interesting main operational runs. All do agree very warm for a period of time, for it could turn very cold after that. All due to this high pressure system that's going to build over the top of us, just uncertain where it goes from there. Most runs do have it drifting slightly further northwards, whether that's an easterly flow or a proper full-blown northeasterly like this ECMWF run. We'll have to wait and see, but nonetheless, very, very intriguing indeed. And I think it'll be very, very interesting watch as we progress over the coming days. Now, the GFS operational run and ensembles, not really too interested in that colder blast into early April. Yes, warm to start April, some very warm runs, but most are a few degrees above average, 3, 4, 5 degrees, so decent. And you see longevity from the operational run there. There are some that go much, much colder, but the majority stay around average or above average. But that's not the same as the ECMWF. Look at the ECMWF. Midnight run, very warm next week, even stronger agreement in those warmer air masses around that 3rd, 4th of August, even up towards the 15 degree isotherm there from the ECMWF midnight run. But then look at this, within 2 days, goes from 15 degrees, plus 15 degrees to -8, 23 degree temperature swing and looking very cold there as we do head into the second week of April. So this is exactly what I've been talking about when we're looking at drastic swings as a result of the sudden stratospheric warming. High pressure is building in, very strong confidence in that, but it's where does it go? It looks like at the moment, to early next week, it's going to be over the top of us, encourage southeasterlies or southerlies. And then after that, it's further away, so there's less confidence, but there's some confidence that it could go much, much colder, with northeasterlies or even direct northerlies starting to push in. So to keep a very, very close eye on this, but guarantee you over the coming days, we're going to see some exceptionally cold runs like we've seen from the ECWF. We're also going to see some exceptionally warm runs like the GEM, and it's going to be very, very difficult to forecast. And I know I will get the comments of people saying, you said it was going to be very cold, it's very warm, and vice versa. You said it's going to be very warm, it's now very cold. We are going to see these massive temperature swings. So one day, yes, it could be 20 degrees. 2 days later, it could be 8 or 9 with a few wintry showers. That is on the cards in this sort of scenario. So we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, just trying to understand what is going on. And you can see it's all down to this high pressure that isn't going away. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you do. And I'll see you again for another video soon.